In this video, we're going to go over a few areas to consider when setting up your home studio. First thing we're going to do is check the acoustics of the room by way of clapping. We'll listen to an untreated room versus a semi-treated room. Then I'll go over a list of inexpensive items that I used for my home studio to demonstrate that you do not need to break the bank in order to get a great sounding room. Not to say that hiring a company to do a complete studio build is a bad thing. I'm just saying don't count yourself out if that's not in the budget. So this space is probably about 12 by 12, something like that. No carpet, walls aren't even done. See how that's nice and live, echoey. Actually, it would probably sound awesome like this as is, but let's do it one more time. And now. Okay, we're here in my studio. Let's hear how it sounds in here. You'll notice that the sound of the room is a lot more controlled now, where the highs aren't bouncing off the walls as much compared to the last room we were in, where a single clap was not only brighter, but the sound lasted a lot longer. When it came time for the treatment of the walls, I really like the sound of an untreated room. It's so inspiring to play with it, just super lively, especially when you have headphones on and you're just, able to really hear all the resonance of the room. It's a really inspiring thing. But when it came time to actually doing professional recordings, I needed to control the high frequencies from bouncing around so much. So what I did is I tried to keep the liveliness, but just tamed the high frequencies a little bit. So the way I did that is I went to the big box store and grabbed some carpet. And this is super thin polyester carpet, and it definitely did the job. And then I wanted to go a little bit further with that, with the design as well as a little bit more acoustic treatment, and went with these acoustic panels, super thin, peel and stick. It's not that they're going to do too much for the soundproofing or anything like that, but it definitely does the job of reducing the frequencies from bouncing around. So bonus. And then I just defined this with some trim here, just for a look. And then for the mixing station where the desk is and all that, I have some bass traps, because the low end in that particular, because this is a bedroom, this is actually a closet right here that has been converted into my little mixing station, And so the bass traps in the corners definitely helped with the low frequencies from bouncing around, tightened it up a bit. Now for the back wall and a little bit of the side wall, our fence blew down. So I dragged it in here, and it helped the sound so much, I was blown away. And also, it's kind of a cool look. It has kind of a barn look to it. So bonus on that one too. And then above the kit, I've got more of these acoustic panels, 35 of them, to reduce the reflection back into the overheads. So that's the only purpose there. And then on the guitar wall, believe it or not, I've got doormats that I bought at the dollar store. Like I said, inexpensive. And so they work. They do exactly what I want them to do. Reduce a little bit of the reflective surfaces in this room. So there you go. It doesn't have to cost $1 million to treat your room a little bit. I consider this semi-treated because it's not a professional treatment of a room, but it definitely does what I need it to do. When it came time for me to set up my kit in the studio, I wanted 3 things. I wanted my kit to sound its very best. I wanted my kit to be very easy to get to. And I also wanted to be able to see my monitor without anything getting in the way of that. The other thing that I needed to consider as I was setting up the space is that I knew I was going to have guest musicians, and I wanted to give them enough space to where they had enough elbow room to perform at their very best. Sound-wise, the best option for this particular room was to set up the kit in the middle of the room towards the back wall, leaving a little bit more space in front of the kit. The distance from the bass drum to the wall in front of it is about 5 feet, with about 2 feet on each side and 2 feet in the back. The reason I chose to put the kit in the center rather than closer to the wall on my left or closer to the wall on my right is because I wanted the reflection time coming back to the microphones, mainly the overheads. I wanted those to come back at the same time. It made it really easy by doing that. If I'm too far to the left or too far to the right, it sounds a little off when you're listening to it. Makes your mixes kind of sound like it's pulling this way or pulling that way. So that's why I chose to put it in the center. The reason I chose to have the kit a little bit further from the wall behind you is for room mics. I want those to be about as far away as I can get them, and this is a 12 by 12 room, so it's about 5 feet. That's the distance between the kit and the wall behind you, and sometimes I have a mono mic and sometimes I have stereo mics, but either way the microphones are always pointed towards the wall, not the kit, to give the illusion of it being a little bit of a bigger room. It also is a little less harsh of a sound, but we'll get into that in further videos. Easy access. I cannot stress this enough. It is so important to be able to get to and from your kit easily. It will help with your day, your mood. It will make things like changing heads, changing drums. Sometimes you're swapping out entire kits, mic placement choices. If you have easy access to all of these things instead of having to move something out of the way in order to get to the job that you're trying to get to, totally makes the day way easier and run that much smoother if you have easy access. Having a clear line of sight from the kit to the monitor is really important to me, especially when I'm setting up a new session. I can check in to see if I need to make any adjustments to the gain of any of the individual tracks, and then during recording I can check any visual cues that I may have set up. Having a clear line of sight to the monitor makes my job so much easier, and anything that makes my job easier, I'm all for. One last thing that I'd like to mention when it comes to placing your kit in the center of the room. Placing the kit in the center of the room totally works for me. It meets all of my requirements, but there are other options. You can place your kit in the corner and you get this natural low end that happens when you place your kit in the corner. And you put your headphones on, it sounds like there's this natural resonance or reverb almost, and this huge low end happens. It just made it difficult for me when I had my kit in the corner to change heads, change drums, mic placement options became an issue. So I placed it in the center because it works for me. But I just wanted to let you know that there are other options. So something to consider.